Picture the calm before a crash, flight attendants instructing everyone to brace, their voices steady, their gestures practiced. The cabin is filled with a sense of order, as if following these steps guarantees protection. We're promised safety through a universal procedure, a ritual repeated on every flight in every language, across the globe. We trust these instructions, believing safety is a science that protects all equally, regardless of who we are or where we sit. It's comforting to think that the systems around us are designed with everyone in mind. But this trust is misplaced. The reality is more complicated and far less fair. For decades, safety engineering has focused on one body type, the so-called average male. This standard has shaped everything from seatbelts to airbags, and even the very tests that certify our vehicles as safe. Crash test dummies, the foundation of safety certification, are modelled on men, ignoring half the population. The female form, with its unique anatomy and biomechanics, is rarely considered in these critical tests. The data and regulations built around these dummies create a false sense of security for women. They assume that what works for one body will work for all, but that's simply not true. When a woman enters a car, she steps into a space not designed for her body. Seatbelts, headrests, and even the distance to the airbag are calibrated for someone else's proportions. Airbags and restraints are all tested on male proxies, leaving women at greater risk. The consequences are not theoretical. They are real, and they are deadly. The result? Women are statistically more likely to be seriously injured or killed in a crash, not because of how they drive, but because of how cars are designed. The numbers are stark, and they reveal a hidden bias in the very systems meant to keep us safe. The safety we assume is universal is, for women, a dangerous illusion, one that demands urgent attention and change. Crash test dummies began as military tools, modelled on male soldiers. When car safety standards emerged, they followed this precedent, using the average man as the baseline. The Hybrid 3 male dummy, introduced in 1976, became the global standard, written into regulations. This male default approach erased women from the safety equation, not just in cars but in aviation too. The logic was flawed. If a seat protects a larger man, it must protect everyone. But women's bodies are not just smaller men, they have unique vulnerabilities. The engineers and regulators, mostly men, designed for themselves, embedding a bias that persists today. The legacy is a safety system built on an incomplete picture of humanity. To address the absence of women in safety testing, the industry simply shrank the male dummy. The so-called female dummy is really a scaled-down man, ignoring crucial anatomical differences. Women have different spinal anatomy, muscle mass, and injury risks, especially for whiplash. Yet, even this inadequate dummy is rarely used in key tests, especially for drivers. The result, decades of flawed data and safety systems that fail to protect women. The mini-male dummy didn't just overlook women, it made cars more dangerous for them. In 2021, Dr. Astrid Linder and her dedicated team in Sweden achieved a historic milestone in automotive safety. They created the world's first crash test dummy truly modelled on the average woman, a feat that had never been accomplished before despite decades of car safety research and development. This new dummy, called the Seat Evaluation Tool, is designed to accurately reflect real female anatomy and biomechanics, especially in rear-end collisions where women are statistically at higher risk of injury. Unlike previous models, it takes into account differences in body shape, muscle mass, and how forces impact the female body during a crash. It's a true breakthrough. Finally, researchers and engineers have a tool that can reveal how seatbelts, airbags, and other safety systems affect women, not just men. This means car designs can be improved to protect everyone, not just the average male. But there's a catch. No country in the world currently requires car manufacturers to use this female dummy in their safety tests. Despite its potential to save lives, it remains optional. Manufacturers can still rely on outdated male dummies to meet legal standards, even though these do not represent the entire driving population. The regulations haven't caught up with the science. The technology to make cars safer for women now exists, but regulation lags far behind. Without updated laws, progress stalls. Without government mandates, companies have little incentive to adopt better, more inclusive testing methods. Cost and tradition often outweigh innovation. The old system's inertia is strong, and change in the automotive industry can be painfully slow. Bureaucracy and outdated standards keep progress at bay. The first true female dummy is a scientific victory, a testament to years of research and advocacy. But it won't save lives until it's required by law and used in every crash test. Innovation means nothing if it stays on the shelf, unused and ignored. The next step is turning this breakthrough into real-world safety for everyone on the road. The impact of male-centric design is measured in real injuries and deaths. Every day people step into vehicles assuming they are protected by the latest safety features. But for millions of women, that sense of security is an illusion, because the very systems meant to save lives are not designed with them in mind. Studies show women are up to 71% more likely to be injured and 17% more likely to die in car crashes, even when controlling for other factors. These numbers aren't just statistics, they represent mothers, daughters, friends, and colleagues whose lives are put at risk simply because of a data gap. The problem is the car, not the driver. For decades, crash tests have relied on male dummies, overlooking the unique biomechanics of female bodies. This oversight has left women dangerously unprotected. Seats, headrests, and airbags are too stiff or forceful for lighter female bodies, leading to more whiplash and internal injuries. Safety features that work for the average man can actually harm women, especially in high-impact collisions. Car interiors are sized for men, forcing women into riskier seating positions. Many women find themselves straining to reach pedals or sit comfortably, increasing their vulnerability in a crash. When women sit closer to reach pedals, they're blamed for being out of position, but it's the car that's wrong. The design fails to accommodate the diversity of drivers, shifting responsibility onto those most at risk. These statistics expose a system that has failed half the population. The lack of inclusive design is not just an inconvenience, it's a public health crisis that demands urgent attention. The higher injury and death rates for women are not inevitable, they're the result of a biased design philosophy. With better data and more inclusive testing, we can build cars that protect everyone equally. The data gap is a matter of life and death. Closing it isn't just about fairness, it's about saving lives and ensuring that no one is left unprotected on the road. Safety features designed for men can harm women. Airbags calibrated for male bodies can strike women with dangerous force, causing severe injuries. Crash avoidance systems, based on male movement patterns, may put women in more vulnerable positions. Even seatbelts designed for male anatomy can cause internal injuries in women. The very systems meant to protect become sources of risk when they ignore female bodies. This isn't just a design flaw, it's a systemic failure. Pregnant women are almost entirely invisible in vehicle safety design. No government requires crash tests with pregnant dummies, despite the unique risks pregnancy brings. Standard seatbelts often fit poorly, putting both mother and unborn child in danger during a crash. The force of a collision can cause life-threatening injuries to the uterus and fetus. Despite the clear need, regulators and manufacturers don't test or design for pregnant women. Pregnant women are left to rely on untested aftermarket products. This is not a rare problem. Pregnancy is a fundamental human experience. Ignoring it in car design is a preventable failure. The gender data gap in safety is part of a larger pattern. Our world is designed for men. Office temperatures, set for male metabolic rates, leave women cold. Protective equipment, from vests to gloves, is sized for men, putting women at risk on the job. Even voice recognition software works better for male voices, trained on male data. These are not isolated issues. They're symptoms of a system that treats the male experience as universal. The result is daily discomfort, lost productivity, and sometimes real danger. This isn't about blaming individuals, but recognizing a systemic bias. When you design for only half the population, the other half is left behind. The evidence is clear. Our safety systems are not equal. The solution starts with regulation-required testing with anatomically correct female dummies and dummies representing pregnant women. Only by mandating inclusive testing can we force industries to design for everyone. This isn't about discarding progress, but about making it universal. Cars and planes are safer than ever, but not for all. We must collect better data, ask new questions, and challenge the male default standard. True safety means designing for real human diversity. A car that protects both men and women is a better car for everyone. Closing the gender data gap leads to smarter, more effective design. Equality and safety isn't just fair, it's essential for progress.